Hey, what's up guys, it's LeMar DeVente, and I'm back with another Beyblade Burst news video, and we finally have images for the Wave 2 Beyblade Burst Rise Hypersphere starters. Now, as I mentioned in a previous video, this does come with 3 new Beyblades, and it does come with one filler Beyblade, which is a Sword Valtric V5, which is a reprint. Now, there's going to be only one of those, 2 of the Glyph Dragon and Joker, and 3 of the new Venom Diabolos. Now, I'm going to compare each of these Beyblades to the original Takara Tomy counterparts, so let's get into that right now, starting with Glyph Dragon. So, on the right is the original Takara Tomy release, which is Grand Dragon. On the left is Hasbro's Glyph Dragon D5. They look very similar in how they are detailed. The only thing is that the Hasbro one doesn't have the blue accents coming from the stickers on the Grand Dragon layer base. But that's alright because Hasbro got all of the major points which are painted on. And something else to mention is the performance tip is probably going to be a charge 3. So the first performance tip on Ace Dragon was charge 1, which was flat and attack orient. The second one is charge 2 on Rock Dragon, which I believe was a bit sharper and supposed to be defense oriented. Now this one is going to be charge 3, and I assume they're going to have it more rounded for stamina, but it's probably still going to be fairly aggressive because that's what the charge driver is like. So overall, it seems like this is retaining pretty much the same shape and there's been no modifications to the mold itself. It's obviously going to be a bit lighter since they did remove the separate layer weight. But overall, it should probably have a similar performance, and I doubt that the Dragon chip on this one is going to be modified in terms of its slopes. So it seems that it's going to be fairly accurate to the original despite the modifications they've already made for it to work in the Hypersphere system. Now, moving on to the next starter, which is Joker J5. We still don't have a name for the layer base, and speaking of which, taking a look at it, the gimmick for the original Judgement Joker is that it had rubber blades on it, and that made it really good for attack. It was very good at bursting and KOing opponents. But now I'm looking at the Hasbro one, and on the layer base, it seems like it's a really flat color in this image we have, and it may not be the highest quality. That still leads me to believe it's going to be like what they did to Wizard Fafnir, and they removed the rubber. Now, I had mentioned this in my previous video on this, and everyone saw this from a mile away. Obviously, Hasbro didn't want to put the money in so they could actually make this accurate, and that's honestly really disappointing because that was a huge thing about this Beyblade. So if it's plastic, this is going to be heavily nerfed. Also, something to mention is that the chip itself doesn't have all the design on the Jester hat, the Joker hat per se. And, I mean, even on the layer base, it doesn't have all the designs on it. So I'm surprised that they didn't go for decals on it. It would have looked so much nicer because now it just looks really bland. And I don't even sticker my Beyblades, but considering that you want to keep it accurate to the show, I feel like they should have done some decals on it. And that would have been really nice, but that's not the case here. In terms of the performance tip, trick, I don't think that's going to retain its gimmick. It was able to change modes during battle, and if Hasbro wanted to do that, it would work, but I don't think Hasbro is going to want to spend more money to put a specific gimmick instead of just doing a solid piece of plastic. So, overall, I think this is going to be a really disappointing Hypersphere release because it's not keeping the gimmicks, and I doubt that Hasbro is even going to put a frame on this, considering what they did in the first waves of Turbo. A lot of those Beyblades did not get frames. Look at Rock Devolos R4 and that. So overall, this is going to be a very plasticky Bey and really stripped of its gimmicks and what made it Joker. So already, I'm just kind of disappointed in this release. And now finally, probably one of the most hyped releases, and this is Venom Devolos D5. And on the right is Venom Diabolos. So in the original one, it had a GT chip which was left and right spin, so you could put it on any base which accepted a layer weight. But Hasbro doesn't have removable layer weight, so they did modify the chip, as you can see on the left one, which is the Hasbro version. So the gold piece, which is in the center area near the disc, on the original Takara Tomy version, that is a part of the chip itself. But in the Hasbro one, it is fused to the layer base because it is considered, I guess, you know, it's taking up a slot which is for a GT chip, and it's just keeping it fair since there is no removable layer weight, so they had to do this adjustment. That's something I'm fine with. Now what they did is that they actually modified, so it's no longer left and right spin for this Diabolos chip. This one includes a right spin Diabolos chip, since this is a right spin layer base, meaning that the left spin one is now confirmed to be on a Venom Devolos D5, which is in a dual pack. Really interesting move by Hasbro. They do have the capabilities of making an LR, GT chip, because we do have Lord Spriggan, and maybe they'll release Lord Spryzen, but now I'm wondering if they would do a left and right spin variant of a Spryzen chip in that case, considering what they've done here. Now, about the rest of the parts, the disc is probably going to be just pure metal and reduced in size, so it's not going to have plastic like the original Vanguard disc. And the performance tip is probably going to be modified so it doesn't have the mini spinning top gimmick anymore. And also, they're probably going to rename it, because you definitely can't name that bullet in North America. That's just not going to fly. So, no idea what they're going to rename that to, but we'll probably find out soon enough. So, that is all for this video. I've gone over everything about the bays that we currently know, and I'm excited to see what we find out for the singles and the dual pack, so I'm hoping that Entertainment Earth does release images of those soon. I'm really excited to see how they're going to be handling Dusk Balkesh B5. So, if you guys like this video, leave a like, and if you want to be updated for all my Beyblade and Bakugan content, hit the subscribe button down below. Thanks for watching, and comment down below what you guys think of the new Wave 2 for Hypersphere that's going to be coming out. Thanks for watching, and remember to blade on.